Warning. This podcast contains humans.
Hi, how are you doing? Welcome to another MSPx. It's a beautiful day here in sunny Putrajaya. The sky is blue, the birds are singing. There's virtually no background noise beyond the hum of my air conditioner. I hope you can't hear it on the recording. The only reason I'm not out there enjoying it, other than recording this show, of course, is that like millions of people around the world, I'm not actually supposed to go outside right now. So I'm a little bit more fortunate than most people. You know, I have a little scrap of garden at the back of my house, and I can enjoy the trees and the bushes that my wife has planted. And we also have a lovely little pair of sunbirds living in a nest just over our back door. Hopefully soon there's going to be an egg sitting in it waiting to hatch. Now, in an urbanized, technology-dependent world, it's easy to forget how important the natural world is to us. There's tons of research going back decades that demonstrates how nature, whether looking at it, being out in it, smelling it, is really beneficial to both our physical and our mental health. According to the New Scientist, a 2019 study by the University of Exeter of almost 20,000 participants in the UK showed that spending just 2 hours a week in green spaces has the same physical and mental effect on the body as getting enough exercise. And a more recent study of over 24,000 people in the UK found that the more time people spent exploring nature recreationally, the more likely they were to be pro-environment or to appreciate the value of those green spaces. Obviously, that's probably a bit of a no-brainer. You know, the more time you spend playing competitive marbles, the more likely you are to appreciate competitive games of marbles. But for many of us, even in the middle of cities, you know, we do have the ability to find some refuge in neighborhood or city parks, or perhaps to get out of that urban jungle for a couple of hours a week. But what do you do when you're under this kind of massive lockdown? You know, we've built all these incredible high-tech cities that are designed for working and shopping and to possibly a smaller extent living in, but for hundreds of millions of people, not being allowed out of a high-rise flat or apartment means no access to nature beyond, you know, a couple of houseplants maybe, or a balcony if you're lucky. Some countries do allow their citizens to go out for exercise, but for others, that lockdown is total. You know, I'm lucky. As I said, I live in a house with a little garden and a sunbird over the door. But what do you do if you're one of those people living hundreds of meters above the ground with only a trip to the supermarket to keep you sane? Worse, you know, we've heard horror stories about people who are locked down in single-room apartments with no windows, no access to natural light at all. So how do you access the health benefits of the natural world if you're trapped in effectively a concrete cell? Well, a study from 2010 and a newer one, I think from 2020, from researchers in Norway and Ireland, have found that we can get some, if not all, of the benefit from what they term as surrogate nature. And that really is as simple as it sounds. It could be looking at a photo of the natural world. For me, you know, a snow leopard in Nepal, or listening to sound effects of nature can also give you some of the same benefits as lounging in a park and listening to the birds sing and the foxes or the monkeys mating. So if you are stuck in a sea of tarmac with no greenery for company, you know, now is the time to start browsing back through those old issues of National Geographic from the 1980s. There always seem to be some in, well, especially in rented properties, or watch some nature documentaries on a streaming service or YouTube. You know, even if they don't have the full shows, all the big networks, you know, your BBCs, your National Geographic, they put out lots of trailers and clips from their natural world shows. Or you could use one of those meditation apps that feature, you know, rainfall, wind and bubbling brooks on the soundtrack. You can find similar sound clips to those on services like Apple Music or Spotify, and of course on YouTube. So, you know, it doesn't have to cost you money if you already have that internet connection. If you're a bit more of a techie, you can give yourself the kind of Lux surrogate nature option by opting for some virtual reality nature. Early results of tests with this kind of technology have shown that, while not as good as wandering in the actual outdoors, VR is a pretty good option for getting some of the benefits of, ranging across a savanna when you've got no savanna to range on. I'm going to leave it here. I'm going to go and check on my cat, who's currently checking on the sunbird. There's a distinct possibility that one of our local stray cats is going to launch an airborne assault on the nest from the top of our washing machine. Obviously, I can't move the nest or the washing machine, so, I'm making myself feel like a park ranger looking for poachers on a wildlife reserve. Thank you for watching and listening. I'll be back with another MSPx in a day or two. You can listen to the weekly show MSP on your favourite podcatcher. For now, stay safe, stay home, and stay green.